fine-tuned and in good shape. No kind of an artist would want to work with a poor instrument, right? You want the best instrument that you can have in your field and your art. And our body is that for us. And if we don't, the more we take care of it, the sharper our mind, the better our body functions, the more creative we can be, the more we can think and do and live and work and grow.
And my husband, who's even older than we are, had sort of gotten lazy and he wasn't walking as much, and his health started to fail. And then he went back to walking, and now he feels fine again. Talk about amazing. It's just everybody, if you aren't walking a half hour a day, then you're basically cheating yourself, because a half hour is not much time. I can't spare an hour. I'm sorry, I can't do it. But a half hour seems to be what I need. I'm sorry to stress that, but it's such more and more the things that you said in your book have been revelations to me that I have been discovering only very late in life to be important. You use affirmations. And I learned only fairly late in life how powerful our minds are. We can make those, whatever we affirm, to be true. But if we pray for things and we say, please make me get better, we're affirming we're not well. And that's bad. So instead, we say, I use gratitude affirmations. I say, thank you, God, for making me well. Huge, huge difference.
Yes.
But
thank you for my health, for how beautiful my day is, for how beautiful my life is, how strong my body is. Yes.
Absolutely.
For me, that's more of a prayer thing. But the affirmations I teach, though, by the way, is because there's a lot of people talk about affirmations. Mm-hmm. There's a power in daily written affirmations that exceeds spoken affirmations. I mean, you should say them also. But daily written affirmations is one of the tools that I teach. Only takes a few minutes every day. That little skill can rock your world and change the way you think, who you are. Not all at one time, of course, because growth happens slowly. But I only did one thing in a day other than pray. It would be to write those affirmations, because they are so fundamental in my happiness, changing the way I think, the way I live, my character, my personality. It's just those daily written affirmations are like your normal saying affirmations. Steroids, it's huge.
Yeah. That's absolutely right. That is actually, so many people now are teaching affirmations, and teaching written affirmations and spoken affirmations and gratitude affirmations, which, 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, you hardly heard about them. It's wonderful that more and more people are finding these things. Now, let's talk about the definition of happiness. This is pretty basic. Everyone listening, think about what your definition of happiness is. And now I'm going to ask Sherry, which I thought this was great. What is the definition you give in the book, the definition of happiness?
I more give the how we become happy, that everybody wants to be happy. And that's been, you've done a lot of this reading, Roberta, this is fundamental in the great thinkers, the philosophers, the religionists, everybody. We want to be happy or have peace, but happiness and peace are practically the same thing, right? But the question is, how do we become happy? And that's what trips people up. Where does happiness come from? I found it useful in these interviews to point out that everybody knows that when they're stagnant or when they're backsliding, they feel like life is slipping, they're not happy. They're really miserable when we're stagnant, right? We don't often think about the flip side of that. What makes us happy? Well, when we're growing. We all have this infinite potential. It's so huge and so infinite, we can't even comprehend it. We'll never reach it. And it's when we take these, it doesn't have to be huge steps, but consistent, small little steps towards that potential. It's the journey. We'll never arrive. But as we're moving, as we're becoming better, that's where happiness comes. A lot of our depression, anxiety, and some of those things, I know there's definitely some clinical things going on too, and that could be another conversation. But the everyday downs and depressions are solved really by moving forward, doing something hard, being better, and then we're happy. Happiness just comes. That's where you're serving, loving, working, doing. If they're making us better, they're making us happy. It sounds self-absorbed, but it's not. Because when we're better, our relationships are better, the people around us are better. And it's really the only way you can make a difference in the world anyway, is by continually being better.
Yeah, you say it's a life that includes a romantic and sexy marriage, a satisfying spiritual life, close family relationships, good friends, financial independence, career success, a strong intellect, being physically fit, and the ability to make the world a better place.
Hope everybody wants all that.
Well, but the point is, each of those feeds on the other when you think about it.
Absolutely.
If you are in a good and strong and stable marriage, it's much easier to be financially strong. If you have close family relationships, again, it's much easier. Career success comes from having a secure and happy home base, in my experience. Yeah. And all of this sharpens your mind. One of the things that I found, and the difference is subtle, you got to appreciate it, was that when I really made walking, and I've done this for a year and a half, every morning I have to get out there for half an hour and move my body. I think I felt smarter too. I mean, it all feeds on one another. You can't have, and that's what your book teaches. And I guess I'd never thought about it, but it's true. If you want to have a good life in one area, you kind of have to at least have a decent life in all the other areas too, or else it takes away from the happiness that you get from that one area that's your particular dream. Am I saying that right? I mean, I think that's true.
That's so profound. It's absolutely right, Roberta. We talk about happiness moving forward, but if you're putting too much on one thing, you're slipping back somewhere else. So then that's not going to be happiness, right? So we have to take a look. We have to be regularly check in and be conscious of one really good and classic example is I've added character as one of those 8 areas, right? Because if I want my dream, my business dream, or my financial dreams to come true so bad, maybe I'll compromise. But if I'm also working on character, I'm not going to let that happen. Or maybe I'm working on my financial dreams. I think I just need to work day and night, and I'm not taking care of my body. I'm not going to be happy because I don't feel good. Or my relationships or something. You said a wonderful thing. You said if things at home are not well, you're not going to do as well in your career. It's Ken has always said that. He said I was able to do well in my business because I knew who I came home to, and I knew that my children were cared for, and he came home to a happy home, and that was the power that made it work for him. It's just if it's not going to be happiness, and isn't even success if it isn't all those 8 areas being worked on. All they'll be completely balanced, but then we want to make sure we're progressing in all 8 areas all the time.
Yeah. I've been, for the past 40 years, I've been an attorney working with closely held businesses, small businesses. And one of the things I really noticed is that the people who are good to people are the ones who are successful in business too. Often they're very good to their employees. When my first clients, decades ago, always could tell me how many mouths he has. He knew how many dependents there were of his employees down to the newest baby. And those were his mouths that he had to feed. I mean, to me, that was a revelation that he would feel that way about the people he employed. I've seen him go to all kinds of lengths to take care of their people, but always, always behind them is a strong home life. Whether they're a man or a woman, there is someone at home who is keeping their life stable, as Ken said. None of this happens in isolation. You can't be a one-note wonder. You've got to be really playing the whole symphony. And I don't think I ever understood that as well as I do now, having read your book.
Oh, thank you. That's the kind of thing I like to hear. Somebody's had a revelation or seen something or learned something new or changing. That's the reason I wrote it, right? Believe it or not, I wrote it for that purpose, not to do interviews. But of course, interviews are great fun. Hopefully, they make a difference.
And if you do interviews, you make good friends. I've made a number of friends this way that I really enjoy. But in point of fact, I think your book is necessary just because it's like training wheels for life. Because we make mistakes. People make huge mistakes in business. We make mistakes in our lives all the time. We're trying, we're learning. And what this book does is kind of give you some training wheels in each of these areas to help you get started and help you not be a backslider in those areas. But a well-rounded life is a much happier life by definition. If there's nothing that is making you unhappy in any area of your life, you have a very high baseline, and then it's easy to be joyous. Ken writes beautifully about that, I thought, in your book, about how he says he doesn't have a right to be unhappy given everything he has and everything he is, but nevertheless, I mean, he still makes a point of being really happy. I think that's so important. We have to think about what we have and be grateful for it, and then have more and more of it.
Yeah, just think of what a pleasure it is to be married to when he thinks that way. He has one of those, I think I told you, or one of those governing values that's about me. So just think about being married to somebody who has this whole paragraph of the governing value that he goes over all the time and repeats. He goes through these affirmations, by the way, twice a day, or these governing values, the governing values, and they're about a paragraph like the one in the book, and he goes through them one at least. Somebody says a week, sometimes a month. He does one in the morning, one in the evening. And I'm one of those, and he's got about 10 or 11 of them, I think. And so he's this whole paragraph where he talks about his love for me and serving me. And so imagine being married to a person like that. Right?
Yeah, that's very lovely. But it also suggests to me that one great way to do this, if you're listening and you're young and you're thinking, hey, I want to try it, if there's a significant other in your life or a spouse, why don't you try it together? Because that's really what it seems to me supercharged for each of Ken and Sherry both, what they were doing, because they were supporting one another and going through perfecting each part of their lives together. I think that probably made a huge difference too, Sherry, don't you?
Oh, it's really important. I still do one-on-one coaching, not a ton of it, but I have a few people all the time. One of the things that it can be very frustrating is I'm trying to work with somebody, they're trying to make their dreams come true. If they're married to somebody who is not interested in moving forward and they're happy to just be wherever they're at, it can be very frustrating. But if you get two people that both want to improve their life, they're doing their own thing, they're not doing all the exact same things, but they're both working on whatever they think is important, but they're both working on things, and then they're going to go up in the same direction. Ken and I trust him. I don't worry. I don't think, oh, you need to work on this or you need to work on that. I trust him. He'll work on whatever he thinks is important, and I'll work on whatever I think is important. The important thing is that we're both working on us, and then we share what we learn and we share our growth. And does that make sense, Roberta? So we don't have to try to develop the exact same things at the same time. I know if he's got a weakness, he'll get to it, and he trusts me to do the same thing.
Yes, so some people listening are thinking, but my husband or my wife is so different from me. We could never do that. Well, you never met two people more different in terms of our life choices than my husband and me. And for example, I've spent 50 years learning the truth about the afterlife and the truth about Jesus, which has nothing to do with religions. Meanwhile, he is a strict practicing Catholic. The way I live my life, which is constantly working at what I love, is inexplicable to him. He retired in his late 50s, and he does pretty much what he enjoys doing. He works, he does investing, stuff like that, but he mainly does what he wants to do all day long. But he's there for me. He runs errands for me. He cooks dinner for me. And so we each are getting what we need out of this relationship, and we support one another in it. I think it's because our values are the same. I mean, we both have a strong sense of ethics, of family, of love, of loyalty. We both support one another. But you don't have to be doing the same thing with your spouse or with your significant other in order for it to be a good marriage that you enjoy. I mean, all day long we're together in the same house and we're happy to be there. And we make jokes and enjoy one another. But I kind of envy you that you had a Ken who was right beside you, Sherry, because he was nowhere near me. He's off doing his own thing.
Well, and to some degree we were doing the same thing. We have, and we to this very day, we both do what we want. We're financially independent, and I'm of course working on the book. I'm doing these interviews, and he's got some investments in some we're very involved in small businesses and small business people. So we have a section of our day every day where he's off I don't want to talk about money,